Coach Tyson Helton. Coach will open up with a statement, and then we'll jump into questions.
Yeah, very excited for this week. It's what we've worked very hard to get to this point. This is where you want to be. In the last game of the season, two very good football teams playing. Should make a great game. Two highly motivated football teams, two well-coached football teams. I know the head coach, Charles Kelly, Jacksonville State, very, very great man, very good ball coach. It'll be a fun game for sure. It should be a very competitive game. Going down there, very familiar. They got a great fan base, great atmosphere. Our guys will be fired up and ready to go play. So with that said, questions.
Okay, so as I understand it, FIU beating Jack State this past weekend really clarified things for you guys. So it's win, you host, lose, and you're out.
That's how I believe it too. So that's from what I've been told. So all I care about is control your destiny, right? So, and that's all you want. That's all you want. You want the ability to be in this game to try to go be in the championship. And so yes, that's how I understand it as well.
Is it a relief? Just looking at like last year, you needed Sam Houston to win Friday to even have a chance. Then you had to go win Saturday. Is it a relief that things are a little bit clearer, even as opposed to last week when you didn't even know if you won this game, you'd be in at all?
I don't know how to answer that question. I usually am so focused on just, like at the time I was just worried about LSU, and you'd think I'd be looking at my phone and checking scores and all that, but I didn't even think I got told, right before we ran out there or something that, hey, that what was going to happen, right? So for me personally, I try to just focus on the task at hand, but obviously I think it helps from a prep standpoint, and it really, it allows you to have a clear path, a clear understanding of what you need to do. So it's nice to know. Let me just say that. It's nice to know.
Coach, a 3-point loss to a power conference school, is that something that you kind of walk away from thinking like, oh, we just had it, or is it like, wow, 13 points against LSU, that hasn't happened against?
I'm very disappointed, and our team is disappointed, and our team and staff and this program are highly competitive. We expect to win, and I expected to win that game. And hats off to LSU; they did a great job, but we didn't get it done. And but I've turned that page. I'm solely focused on this. Yeah, and in some ways I think it may help us. I think I'm better, and I think our team is better when we got our jaw set and we're mad about something, So we'll see. We'll see if that formula works or not.
Logistically, last year you had 2 games with Jack State in 6 days. I know both teams have had considerable changes since, but does that help prep-wise or any preparation?
I think there's some familiarity there. Both teams have had a lot of new players, obviously, but there is some familiarity. There's some comfortability.
2 different kind of games as well.
Yeah, I think there's a comfort level, even just, we've been down there several times, so we know what to expect. You know what the visitor locker room looks like. You know where you're going to be in pregame warm-up. All those things matter. It just kind of brings the stress level down. That's why I like to practice at our stadium, because it's where we play a game, right? So I think the same thing applies when you play an opponent that you have some familiarity with, and a place you played a couple times, and we'll see. Ball's ball. Whether you have, whether we win and we end up playing again, or we win in Kennesaw State, or whatever it might be. We're just happy to have the opportunity to compete and hopefully make it to the championship.
Well, this is the top scoring team in Conference USA. I think they're a 10th of a point ahead of you guys now. They do it mainly running the ball, but also they'll take a field goal and they get it. I think they have the 17 of those. Does that factor into the calculus as to taking points when you get them, or do you just coach it the way that you coach it? Or do you
I think the game has evolves into its own deal. I think you evaluate the game and how the game is going, And what I mean by that, you evaluate, how's the game going? Am I going to go for this fourth down? Because I think we're playing good on offense and we can make it, or, hey, we're playing really good defense too, and if I don't make it, then I think our defense can stop them. So I think the game really dictates that. But the first thing I do when I start on an opponent, and as our staff does, is we do look at all the stats, and our conference does a great job of being detailed in that. And man, we're like this as two football teams, from scoring to points allowed to red zone to field goals to what we do on special teams. There are a lot of similarities, so that's why I think it's going to be a really good game. It's a really competitive game, so it should be a fun game.
Just looking at this Jag State offense too, obviously Cam Cook is kind of driving them, but also the quarterback, another running quarterback. I mean, they're a really dynamic rushing offense.
Yeah.
What makes them tick?
Man, they're really good offense as far as they hang their hat on. We're going to run the football, and they're efficient when they do throw it, and it's a hard day at the park for any defense because you got to count for the quarterback running it. You got a really good running back running it. You got a well-trained offensive line. Coach Trickett does a fantastic job with the offensive line. The other Coach Trickett does a great job calling the plays. They got two Coach Tricketts there. Again, my first comment was what a well-coached, trained football team. And so when that offense steps on the field, I talk to our defense about what to expect. And it's an all-out war when you play that football team and that offense. You're not walking off the field. You're going to be bloodied and bruised, and you're going to be tired, which is fine because they're coming at you. And we got to make sure we tackle well. We got to make sure we limit the explosive plays. Like I said, they're efficient when they do throw the football. We can't give up the big play. Thought we did a great job last week against LSU of triggering and tackling, because LSU has excellent athletes, and if you let those guys get in space, you're not going to get them down. And the best thing we did was we triggered and tackled immediately. So we're going to have to do that again. The running back is outstanding for them. You got to gang tackle this guy. And I'd love to think one of us can go tackle him, but it's going to take everybody coming to the park to get him down. So it's going to be a great challenge for our defense, but again, I keep saying it should be exciting to watch.
Right. Last week you guys continued that trend of pretty much holding in the red zone. I think held them out of the end zone 2 out of 3 times. But as you said, yeah, it tackled probably better than you have all year after Middle Tennessee, where it was spotty at times. How do you make such an improvement from one week to the next, and how do you hold that into this?
Well, I think, it was definitely a point of emphasis during the week, especially going to LSU. Our defense felt like, man, if we tackle like that against LSU, they're going to run us out of the park. So it was a huge point of emphasis. Drill works, everything we did, rallying to the ball. And it showed up, obviously, in the game. Now, we worked that every single week, but we knew going into LSU that if we did not do those things, that it was not going to be good. Same blueprint applies to this offense that we're about to play in Jag State. You're going to have to wrap up. You're going to have to make tackles and get them down immediately, or they're going to break those tackles and create explosive plays for sure.
Coach, as we head into this last week of the regular season for you guys, what areas have you seen the most growth in this team from week 1 to now?
Well, just everything in general. I think you want your team to recognize its strengths and its weaknesses, right? And I think we know who we are as a football team. I think our big men, our line of scrimmage, both on the offense and in the defensive line, has excelled tremendously from the start of the season to now. If you look back defensively, we were giving up a lot of rush yards early. We've kind of limited those things now, limited some of the explosive plays in the run game. Offensive line, we kind of do our thing in the pass game. We've always been able to pass block good, but we weren't as physical and controlling the line of scrimmage in the run game. O-line, we're doing a really good job now with that. Receivers are doing a nice job making explosive plays. We're tackling better. So, I think I talked earlier in the season about you want to play your best ball towards the end of the season. I think we're doing that now. So, And we got to play our absolute best game come Saturday, and that we're going to have to need it to go win it. All right, guys, thank you.